nachos, amigos, and welcome to Hallyujuku, a K-pop podcast for the masses. I mean, for you and your friends. I'm your man, PD Rave. Here with me, of course, is my tag team partner, my partner in crime, my right-hand man to my left-hand side, Brandon Cooper, aka King Kaz. How you doing, Kaz?
I am doing well. I am locking in some things on Instagram, and I'm done. All right, here we go.
Yes. Yeah, we're here to talk about K-pop, talk about East Asian pop culture in general. This time, pretty much entirely K-pop, but we're still on this journey together. Of course, we start off every episode talking about what's new, what's going on in the world of East Asian pop culture, what's caught our attention, at least music-wise or otherwise. Kaz, what's caught your attention since we last gathered?
A couple of things. I'm not even gonna lie. Really, the only thing that has really caught my attention is J Park, but I'm gonna get into that later. Because I couldn't round my shit out with the best of J Park. I just decided to go with these other two tracks that both dropped a couple of days ago. So the first one being this track from AOA, which I actually legitimately don't like. I don't like the song. I think the song is really beneath AOA where they are right now. I think it's just progressively it's way too simple for them. I think AOA are really, really good at I don't know. I think AOA has good vocals. I think they have good harmony. I think they have a lot of good stuff that a lot of other groups sometimes don't. Are they the best? No. But is their shit better than most? Yes. So you give them a track like this, it's cookie cutter fucking. You know what? I'm not even gonna call this like. Normally we call shit like really basic K-pop, like really kind of basic K-pop tracks. This is basic ass J-pop to me. Like I even hold basic K-pop on a higher level. This is almost basic like J-poppy kind of
yeah. I can definitely understand that. Like it's there's some things to like in the song, but I think overall it's a little hollow. I would say a big part of this is the vocals that they have. They lost a majority of what they had in losing Choa. Like if you really kind of they have some talented people there, but I mean but their powerhouse was Choa. But they could have come out with something a little bit more interesting, like
I think there's a lot of songs in K-pop that are forgettable, and that's fine. I like you kind of we've said this before. You live in between your hits, right? So like you live in between your kind of pillar tracks that kind of build your bridge, and everything else is just foundation. This is just more foundation, but this is like sub foundation. Like you dug a hole, laid foundation, and then put dirt back on top of it.
But I think that the big problem with that is that this was like we didn't think they would come back, especially with the loss of Choa and like a little bit being out of the spotlight, and this is their comeback to say, "Hey, we're back." And then, like, they could have come back with something a bit more of a statement, but they didn't. It's an all right song, but it's.
I don't know. See, use the word all right. I think the thing that kind of even kept me in this as long as it did was the video. The video is really fun. If for anything, go check it out for the video. I think it's really fun. It's not anything super creative, but I just thought it was fun. I thought it was really, really fun. Like we've seen this concept done a little bit better in other places, but like I just think it was fun. And shout out to the old school fucking Nintendo controller at this point, because that's old school at this point.
Yeah. GameCube.
Yeah, at this point the GameCube is old school.
Yeah. Hey, by all accounts, by people that I know, I don't know because I've never played it much. Well, not never, but I haven't played it much. Best controller to play Smash. Apparently, that's the thing.
We're not even gonna go down that road of what Smash players think are useful. All right. I don't want to dwell on this too long. So on my next track, a track that I thought was actually really well done, SHINee's "Good Evening." They hit it. They fucking hit it in this track. It builds up so. Yeah, like this song builds up so well, and I've for a while I tried not to get hung up on visuals, because I know I listened to a bunch of old episodes and I get hung up on visuals a lot, but that's because I'm a very visual person. You can sell me visually and not sell me vocally at all. Like if you sell me on good visuals, this sold me visually. Like, I love this video. It's so fucking fun. It's so fucking dope. It's simple, but it has so much complexity to it. I love the colors. I love the film style. Like, I love so much about it. But the song is still really, really good. Like, it's still really, really good.
Yeah, it's such a like it builds off of, I think, everything that and I think I've seen like reviews, builds off of everything that worked from View and that whole album, and like some of the sounds and some of like the house sounds that worked on that, but like but it's built well into this sound that SHINee are making now, and I think like has such a good like presence and vibe. And I think like it makes it makes a statement come back. It was like the statement come back from for their first comeback as for obviously for not great circumstances, but like it makes a statement that we are SHINee, we are still here, we're still the kings, like for the what this does musically. It's just I'm looking forward, because this is going to be a year-long. It's going to be the year-long thing where they're going to release multiple EPs, like leading up to like the culmination, like the whole story of Light thing is going to be cool this year. We're going to get a lot of SHINee this year,
and I think that's amazing, right? I think kind of what more groups should do is just attack a year, right? Because you spend so much time performing and doing all this promotional shit that I think if you give people enough shit, that when you have to do that time of performing and shows and like all this other stuff, like there's so much content to then just look forward to that keeps people enough, right? Like you could film so much in the span of a couple months and then release it slowly. So if that's kind of the path they're taking, I think it's going to be amazing, dude. And if this is kind of like the sound they're going to have, like I want to hear a fast track from them, because that's what I really always loved SHINee for. I love those like really kind of pump, kind of clubbish tracks, but like not really. That's just like the best way to describe them. Like I want to hear something like that from them. It's gonna be dope.
More awesome stuff from SHINee. Moving on. All right, the track, the J Park.
So
track.
The last for me, the boy J Park is making an attack. All right, he has circled his army. He's got the tanks, he's got the warships, and he's making an attack. So this is Soju from the boy J Park, and for some of you out there, you would be like, Okay, it's a song called Soju by Jay Park. It's Ratchet Jay Park. So what? But it's featuring 2 Chainz. My man Jay Park is on the attack. That's all I'm gonna say. He's on the attack. More to come.
I don't like it. Like, I think
it's not for you, right? It's not for you. It's not for us. He's making a very, very, very specific statement with these first couple of songs that are very also stylized to start hitting that global sound, right? This is definitely kind of on a what hip hop sounds like right now kind of thing, right? And like I said, I'm going to speak more to this later because I have a lot to say about this. So I don't want to take up all this time on talking about all this, but like, there's some really smart shit happening on Jay Park's part.
I will say this. If we were going further into I want Jay Park to replace Chris Brown, this would be kind of like the rap track that Chris Brown would release. So, at least he's got that going.
These are the warning shots. Okay, that's all I'm gonna. These are the warning shots.
Yeah. All the best of luck to Jay Park. Hopefully it works out for the best for him. I think I honestly, not to get too deep into it, I honestly think it could have still been better. It'd still been this style, but yeah, hopefully it works out. Hopefully it works out for Jay Park. Like I said, the game plan, it's all about the end game. We must complete the swap. Like the spy party. You gotta swap the statue. You gotta swap. Take Chris Brown out. Swap in Jay Park. And I don't know what we'll do with Chris Brown. Go disappear into obscurity. But yeah, moving on. We'll have more to say about Jay Park later on. But moving on. To my tracks. So the things I've been checking out. That I checked out. A couple of songs I released a little while ago because it's been a little while since we gathered, since we recorded. So a couple of things, I guess, just a couple of tracks related to the unit, I guess, in a sense, or related to my love of middling girl groups that are also really talented. Uni.T, the girl group made up of the top 9 women of the unit, top 9 female contestants of the unit, came out with their debut track, No More, or Nama, in Korean. And I think it's actually really cool. It's musically, it's not exceptional. It's a pretty solid, little reggae inspired pop track. It's interesting they went with semi sexy concept for this debut, the girl group concept. But hey, it works. I think the main thing that holds the song up and makes it stand out is that the top 9 of the unit were a collection of pretty talented vocalists and pretty talented vocalists that kind of could elevate this song really well. I think that it made a pretty good song really exceptional and interesting. Just based on their vocal performance. What do you think, Kaz?
It didn't really do much for me vocally. It's I can feel some of the parts of it vocally, but other than that, it's just not all there for me.
Yeah. I can definitely feel it. I think there's a lot to like there. I would like to see if they could come out with something a little bit more high up tempo or engaging for their next comeback. If whenever the next comeback is. I think it's going to be interesting. I don't even know how long, because obviously this is a project group made up of like members of La Boom, members Yang Ji-won of formerly of Spica, and like members from different agencies. Like NCIA has a solo career that she needs to get back to at some point. But so I don't know how long this group is going to be, but it'd be interesting to see what they do going forward and what kind of a group they grow up to be. So looking forward to it. Yeah. I don't know. You had any further thoughts, Kaz?
What?
Oh, no, I thought you had further thoughts.
No.
Okay. But yeah. Especially, it's all, I love seeing the ragtag group of former group members.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. It's still a very odd concept to me, but it's a concept that very specifically speaks to what the Korean music industry is. Like, it's just this kind of ever turning thing. So you get these ins and outs, and like I think there's a good space to give people a second chance at something, but
yeah. Maybe even former teammates second chance to at least work with, to at least make a small comeback together. As per my next song, Khan, which is made up of Jungmin-ju and Uni.T, the two that debuted together before they were part of the ARC. Back in the day, it was I think it's like 4 years ago at this point with the Goodbye Rain, and it's like, and I'm pretty sure we talked about it back then, because it was like the buzz back then of just Jungmin-ju, of like her being like the next Boa, and then like with everything coming out of with the ARC, and then the ARC disappearing, and then like seeing that it was very obvious that they all still like got along and were wanting to make music together and wanted to at least be around each other. We talked about the teasers for their debut and the different like covers and stuff like that. But yeah, Khan finally came out with this with "I'm Your Girl" or "I'm Your Girl," and I really like it. It's kind of chill.
Yeah.
It's catchy. It's nice. They're really talented. Those two girls are really talented vocally. And Uni.T can like be the fact that she can be in there in the vocal soundscape, just providing support for Minju, and then like also come in to be the change of pace in the bridge to do the rap, because it's not so much of a rap as like the bridge part, the talk sing, as it were. I think it works well. I think that there's a lot of fun, like how much of it involves like the cool dancing. They're just really talented. I'm like, it just kind of like excited me as somebody who like repeatedly bemoans the fact that the ARC just didn't happen. Fell apart. This didn't even really happen. I think they barely had that debut track, and that's it. I don't know.
And that's kind of my distaste with how the Korean music industry works with everything else musically going on in the world, right? Where like some kid can make a YouTube channel about doing covers of songs initially, right? And then grab enough people that then they make their own songs and they get a chance to then make an album of their own music where they started just doing other people's, you know what I mean? Like you went from busking on the internet to having that chance, right? Where, yeah, we've heard those stories of groups that do that, but once you get mixed into the Korean music industry, you just kind of there's so much sitting that happens in the Korean music industry. And then when you have these groups that are literally interviewed, tested, and then put together because somebody said they look like they work well together, and then sometimes they don't, sometimes there's other circumstances. But like Petey said, with having this group, the ARC, it legitimately looked like they wanted to do shit together. It seemed like they were super excited to do shit together. And because of other people's either misfortune or whatever in life, it didn't get to happen. You know what I mean? Like, and we might have missed out on what could have, let's think in the greatest scheme that it could have been one of the best girl groups ever, right? Or it could have flopped. But we don't get to know that now.
Yeah. Which is a bummer.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, speaking of the ARC, Isuji, being in that previous group, Uni.T, because she was in the unit, and that's a big part of why, I'm like, I was rooting for that group. Yeah, there's a faint hope that they'll just do things together, but those things never happen. It was like, what if they reunite?
Well, but that's also once again because of the Korean music industry, right? So somebody owns that name, and then somebody signs one of the girls to one deal, somebody signs two of the girls to a different deal. And they're like, hey, could we possibly... No, you can't do a project with them. They're on that label. We don't like that label. Like, just dumb shit that keeps good shit from getting to our ears.
Yeah, like, it's one of those things where it's like it's one of those things where it's getting me excited for multiple people that are just out there doing, just breaking out and managing to do their own thing. And sometimes just doing things independently, like Amber is, and like dropping her mixtape, and like Tia, formerly of Chocolat, and some people are just dropping things on SoundCloud. Which, and in a couple songs, I'll talk about a group like that, and just taking measures into their own hands the best that they can, which is exciting. And I think like because it's definitely understandable that it would, if we'll talk about other things. We have more to talk about with the industry. I think we have headlines to talk about in the industry, but yeah, it's a bummer. But it's good to see these girls back doing this, and hopefully it succeeds at least moderately, and they're able to kind of keep doing this at least. There's other like crazy theories about other things, but at the very least this works. So we know that at least musically. So we can hope for the best. All right, Moonbyul of Mamamoo.
Yep.
Everyone knows. Everybody watches the show. I'm a Moo. I would say card carrying member. Though technically, I think mine expires soon, and they didn't allow. In this third recruitment, they got rid of international shipping, so I couldn't renew for a third year, or for a second year for me, but for the third. So I'm not going to be able to be part of the third recruitment, but at least for now, until I think like June, or at least till like sometime at the end of June, I am a Moo officially. That's beside the point. Moonbyul is following along the footsteps of several of the other of a couple of the other members that have been putting out solo projects as the year of Mamamoo. It's also as Mamamoo also attacks this year as they plan to do an album every at least a mini album every season. Where on top of that they're also doing these like kind of like solo stuff. Moonbyul has come out with her solo mini album that includes the track "Selfish" featuring Silgi of Red Velvet, and it's fun. it's like it's very much like fitting in with like Moonbyul's persona. I think stylistically and musically, it's very Moonbyul. Like it has a bit of a confidence, but not like taking yourself too seriously, especially in the video. Has a lot of fun with it, and also like musically, it's cool and like it's fun to listen to, and it's pretty catchy, and like it has a lot of what Moonbyul excels at, including her own singing. Like that, I think in the past she's had lacked in confidence when it came to her singing because she was surrounded by these power singers that like where hers is kind of more like a solid.
I don't know if it's a lack in confidence or just playing to your best set of skills within a group. You know what I mean? Like,
I think she said that she was like a little bit lacking in confidence as far as like her singing.
Oh, okay.
Where it's like. But yeah, and also it's a little bit like she's had to play into the style of music that they've generally sung, where her voice isn't as as fitting into that. That's where she had to kind of be the rapper. She kind of more has that Zion-T like singing voice, not exactly like Zion-T, but like in that genre or in that tonescape. Which I think works well. But yeah, what did you think of this track?
No, I really enjoyed it. Like I would love to hear more solo shit from her. Yeah, like especially if it's really her flavor and not just like somebody else's thought of the flavor that she should sound like. Like, and that's what I feel like this was. I feel like it was her flavor. So I definitely enjoyed the fuck out of it. Yeah. And it's featuring a member from Red Velvet.
Yeah, so yeah, she's right over there. So I'm looking at her poster.
Yeah,
I'm pointing to her right now. So yeah, so fantastic track. Go check it out. Another thing. So speaking of like SoundCloud, people doing their things on SoundCloud. Or doing things independently. Yedin, she of 15 and theoretically, has gotten together with members of the band Bye Bye Badman, whose CD case at least I have back there in the top shelf with all the generic CDs. I don't want to say generic CD, but like the generic CD cases, like regular ones, not the K-pop ones. They come out with they've gotten together, collaborated to come out with this group called the Volunteers, and it just out of nowhere announced it on Instagram and then dropped a couple songs on SoundCloud, and they're really solid. Like they're really solid alternative tracks. The vocals are really nice. I mean, the vocals are nice. I wish they weren't as. I guess it's part of the aesthetic, but I wish they weren't as affected as they were.
It's probably also not pro-mixed.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it didn't sound like it was professionally mixed. It sounded like straight out of microphone. A little bit of like, make sure this doesn't bump into this. All right, great. Put that on SoundCloud. You know what I mean? Like... Yeah, which is what those platforms are for. Like, you could be real high quality on SoundCloud, or you can just hit good and be like, hey, we hit good, so let's go. Because I feel like an actual like engineer would have pumped up the vocals a little bit and like, because this literally sounds like recorded audio of each thing and then laid.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So, but it's an interesting proof of concept. I think I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I like Bye Bye Madman as a band. I remember seeing them at K-pop Night Out back when I think it was like the last time it was K-pop Night Out. Yeah, and they performed well. They actually won over the crowd, and a lot of people really enjoyed them. And I enjoyed them. They were really cool. And I think this is an interesting like mix. To see, and again, the main thing is like interesting. Like she said like she's still in JYP. It's like JYP. So this is not her quitting the company, but like this is her just to like trying to like put stuff out there of a different like style that she wanted to try. So it's like it's interesting. So I look forward to more from the volunteers. Go check them out on SoundCloud or on Instagram.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out. But yes, that's the end of what's new. We transition over to our headline segment. So join us on the flip side, won't you? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our headline segment here on Hallyujuku, where we talk about some topical topics, things going on in the world of East Asian pop culture. What's been going on, what's happening, what's the haps. Let's get down to it. So BTS are tearing things up. As we talked about Fake Love. We talked about how they came back with Love Yourself Tear, the mini album. That mini album, the full album, which is fantastic. I think we're gonna do eventually we're gonna do a talk segment about it because it's worth talking about it. But BTS's "Love Yourself" Tear debuts at number 1 on the Billboard 200 with 135,000 units sold. They debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 charts. Because they sold 135,000 units as opposed to Her, Love Yourself Her, which debuted with 31,000 units. The kind of the big increase is staggering and crazy. I think a little bit of that probably has to do with it was easier to purchase for people here in in the States. Mainly
that definitely helps.
Yeah, for example, I Amazon Primed it, which is crazy for a K-pop album. Like I just bought it on Amazon. Like that's it, and it just came to my door. And this time it didn't come. It wasn't an empty envelope that came the first time, and I had to talk to customer service rep. Yeah, I'm still salty. I got you on video though. That aside, this is further proof of BTS is kind of like cementing themselves into like a next level like crossover success because it's been a building one. This is definitely not this is definitely not like they went viral. Like, and I think I've said it before. This is not like they went viral and had a bunch of YouTube views on one thing and then like, yay, it's that one thing. This has been and mostly fandom driven, but still a steady like push, which I feels more sustainable.
That's the best way to do it, right? I think everyone else has looked for this instant success transition, right? I think them and a few other people who are trying to do it are doing it right in doing these build-ups to greatness, right? Because you've already reached your peak, right? You've done all the work and you've reached your peak in one place, right? So now when you make that transition, you're starting back down here, right? And it's hard to be back down here when you have already reached a peak of something. So I think for them, it's smart to just grind it and just keep going and keep building more and more fans. Keep doing the radio shows, keep pumping out all the content on YouTube, and just doing all the stuff that they're doing. It's working. They're doing it right. Yeah, like do all of it and keep doing it right. Like, fuck yeah.
It's so cool to see it happen. Especially like I'm gonna also I've actually, just as a spoiler for all, I'm gonna feed you guys a nice spoiler for Record Breakers. If you're a fan that listens to both podcasts, which is what makes you wonderful, I'm going to, in a future episode, we kind of record things in batches, trying to get ahead of things. I'm going to have the guys listen to the new BTS album, which is going to be fun, just to listen to what their thoughts are. And it was interesting because as soon as I brought it up, our newest Record Breaker, DJ M, our mutual friend, mutual co-host, was like, "Oh yeah, I'll finally get a chance to listen to BTS." And it's like, "Oh yeah," like it's like people are hearing their name. It's like people like in different circles are hearing their name and talking about that, which is crazy. And it's crazy to think about like our journey with them, because they debuted. I think just before we debuted, I guess technically, like they are our sunbays, technically, and then our journey with like not really feeling them at first, and like
I mean they debuted at a time where you had to do a very specific thing as a boy group, right?
Yeah,
that I think they were on the tail end of, because I don't think too many more people did that style after that.
Yeah.
And they made the hard quick transition, man. They made a hard quick transition from that to kind of more poppy, preppy shit.
And then a little bit more like experimental stuff, and then like they've grown a lot. The sound has grown a lot, which is really cool. So I'm excited for seeing the success of BTS. I think like we've poked fun in the past, but I think they've grown so much, and I think it's well deserved because they put in the work. And from a not big label, which is crazy. Like this not SM, not YG, not JYP, not even DSP.
I'm gonna make a really, really hard I'm gonna make like a really hard thing here, right? Like, I feel like it's one of those things where not only them as a group are hungry, but this unknown label who knows they have really good talent is hungry. Letting their talent shine, like letting their talent do what they can do best, and then you doing the things that you have to do best. You know what I mean? So like putting them on the right positions, getting the producers that can make that sound good. Like I think that's what happens when you have people who do the best, like put their head down and are like, I have to do my part, right? Yeah. Rather than, I wonder what EXO are doing. Okay, all right, so this is what I heard EXO are doing. So what we should do is, you know what I mean? Like not doing that shit, but just like, all right, you know what? That last one, we fucking flopped. Let's go back out and get him with this one. Like,
yeah. So I'm looking forward to more from BTS.
Yeah.
But yeah. moving on. So speaking of people breaking out, K-pop star 4 winner Katie Kim reportedly leaves YG. She left YG, preparing for debut at another company. There's a little bit of like an excerpt. There was like this happened. This headline was a little bit further, like let's say a week ago. A week ago. And it was like, oh, interesting. Katie Kim, like the project of YG. They were working on their debut, and now she leaves YG. And I think there was a little bit of an excitement to dunk on YG. I was excited as well. I enjoyed dunking on YG. I mean, I think we both like dunking on YG the person. Maybe a little bit. And kind of at least in this headline, this coming off of him not debuting Mix 9 as well, is hilarious. But we did get further confirmation about the circumstances, which is that she was leaving and then signing with an agency known as, I believe, Axis. Yeah. Which is, I'm not trying to find the name, but because I didn't realize I didn't have that information on the second article I put in there, but that it was one of the creative director that had up until recently been like the person in charge of developing Katie Kim. He left to kind of form his own company, to kind of be in a different company. So, in turn, they let her leave so that they could, he could keep working with her. And now that that information came out, now we get some information about their debuts, and her debuts in a minute. We actually got some teasers and everything, and it's also being published by YG. So it's not like it was not like a quitting moment or a thing. It was just like the creative director wanted to do his own independent thing. He went out, created his own thing, but they maintained a working relationship. And the person that he had most involvement into their debut, and probably was the best person to guide their career, they went ahead and let her kind of go and continue the work that they were doing together in that new label.
Yeah.
So it's not YG lost one of his projects. It's more like, okay, there was different machinations.
Yeah, like all the YG shit aside, like I'm not gonna fucking try to make every fucking show a shit on YG thing. It's that this dude did so much good work, finally got that to that point where you can't promote anymore. like you a person can only be promoted so much before you're like, there's literally nowhere else to put you. That you have to then move laterally, right? So he took the lateral movement. He now is running his own thing, and because of all the good work and stuff that he did, and like you said, in building the system, they were like, there's no reason for you to not keep her with you, and we'll do everything we can to support you. So it just kind of nice fucking niceties on the nice.
Yeah. So it's looking interesting. The debut's looking cool. Like it's I believe the time frame for it is the first single on June 6th. So and then there's going to be a couple singles, and then another single in August, and then she's going to have her debut album in October. At least according to one of the teasers. So look forward to that from Katie Kim. Yeah. All right. Speaking of, all right, now we're going back to breaking out of the industry. Sleepy Minji, I'm going to say, Sleepy Minji, aka Cheska, is a Twitch streamer currently, and has been for a little while, who in a previous life, I'm going to word it differently than these articles do, in a previous life, for a very brief period of time, only for a couple of years, was a member of an early version of the debut version of Fiestar. Um, she has been, I guess, addressing or receiving a lot of like questions about like her releasing music in the future. Like we said, like putting things out there. Going independent, things like that. To which she finally just replied this to say to kind of shut it down a little bit. To say, I'm no longer going to be making music due to the stress. She explained, music has destroyed my confidence and happiness. I had fun and learned a lot from it, but I noticed that it was killing me slowly. Thank you so much for those who have supported me through my ups and downs for 2012 till my last single, Aura. You can read her statement, but you would have. I think they stopped having it there, but it was on her Instagram. It might not be there anymore, but go check it out. And she's right now she's doing her own thing away from music altogether. Like I said, she's streaming on Twitch actively as Sleepy Minji. She's in kind of she has a few followers on there. She's building her thing. She's building her brand away from this thing that she did 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, that she doesn't want to think about it. So it's definitely an understandable statement to make, and she's kind of doubled down on it even more so, a little bit more forcefully on her Instagram as well, because to kind of like kind of stop the like, oh, when are you gonna release more music? When are you gonna release new music? Yeah, and it's definitely the big thing is like, yeah, I could definitely understand especially in this system or even just in general, the pop music industry in general, in many places all over the world, can chew you up and spit you out like so bad. And I can definitely see that once you get on the other side of that process, different people react to it differently, and I can see how some people are just like, I don't want to do anything related to this ever again. Did you have any thoughts? What was your reaction?
I mean, a lot of mine is the same kind of thing, right? You go through all that, and you kind of, like you said, you come out on the other side and you have a different perspective on it, and you have a different perspective because of it. So it definitely changes the way you think about those things, and it changes the way you feel about those things, right? And probably, if you try to dig down deep into it, more people would be like, yeah, the music industry doesn't make me feel good, but I think for her in her head, the whole thing is connected, right? So
yeah,
it is what it is. So if she's happy where she is now and she can continue to grow there, like Petey said, building her brand and doing all those things, then it's fine. Like, there's nothing more for me to say. It's all her stuff. Ooh.
We're not saying. Sorry. Luckily, that won't get recorded. Yeah, and she's doing her thing. I'm trying to pull things up. She's doing her thing, and I think that's really cool. So building her life now, be it with streaming, which you can see on Sleepy Minji. She's offline now. She's still living in Seoul, so if you want to see her streams, they're kind of more more during the day, like the middle of the day. She kind of more streams in the middle of the night for herself, which is understandable. So like I know recently, I think she was streaming she streams different things. I know recently she was looking at her like past vids. She was streaming Wizard of Legend and a few other things. So go in there expecting a Twitch streamer. That's the big thing. Just go in there. You're gonna go see a Twitch streamer. Not anything else. Not anything that was in her past. So, I look forward to seeing her grow that, her succeed, hopefully, as best she can there in that space. Because sometimes it's worth it just to get out alive. All right, moving on. All right, this is the big meat and potatoes story now. Jay Park responds to concerned fans after 6ix9ine performs at a release party. Jay Park recently regrammed a video of 6ix9ine and Casanova hopping up on stage with him at his Soju release party at SOB, along with a message about them squashing beef. Or regardless of themselves beef, fans were understandably concerned for Jay, as 6ix9ine is a felon due to circumstances of using a 13-year-old girl in a sexual performance. And it kind of goes through some of the details of the video, which are
it has all the
allegations,
and then they have over at Asian Junkie Jay Park's response to all this. So this is which
not just allegations. He admitted to these. he pled guilty.
Yeah, but that's beside the point. That's all said and done. That's more on 6ix9ine than anything else. This is more on the positioning for me on Asian Junkie and then Jay Park, right? Like, as an outside perspective, especially in journalism, you have to kind of look at all the things that happen and all the things that are going on and learn to read between the lines. Everyone and their mother has reported on the 6ix9ine thing, right? Like that has been news forever. For Jay Park, and Jay Park specifically, who is trying to make this transition into a bigger, better star, when you say something about Jay Park about like being positive is great and all, but like you have to do all this other shit. Like, no, he doesn't. I'm pretty sure he already knows those things. And if you really, 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 really read between the lines, Jay Park is playing the best version of that role that he can in the public perception, right? Because he is coming into an industry where these people are at the peak. You know what I mean? Like these people are at the height of the industry that he is walking into. And to a certain extent, he has to walk on eggshells for a little bit. He can have his agreements of disagreements, but he has to play the best possible version of himself when it comes to public agreement or disagreement with people who, in a sense, could make or break his career, right? So for him, on the scale, right, 6ix9ine and Casanova jumping on stage for him hits in every other piece of public appearance as like, oh shit, 6ix9ine and Casanova like performed at this concert for this dude Jay Park. He is now in all of those headlines, right? And it's not like, and even if you look at it and think about it, like if you look at that video, Jay Park is very weirded out by the whole situation. Like he's very, very weirded out by this whole situation. Like, and he is asking people what the fuck is going on. But he played his part perfectly in all of this to keep the high that he is going to get from this for his career, and to also just give the best version of his opinion that he can. Like, and anybody can say whatever the fuck they want. They could say like, oh, he could just say this or that or whatever, or do whatever the fuck. No, he can't. Like, you obviously don't understand how these industries still work. Like, it is a very, very public opinion-based thing. Like, and it just, he has to do what he has to do to play that.
I think 6ix9ine is a scumbag, and I don't
But you're not in the music industry. Like, you're not in the music industry.
I don't,
sir. But at the same time, nobody cares about that you think that. You know what I mean? Like, 6ix9ine's music is still going to play. All that shit is still going to happen. Like,
he sucks.
You can think that all you want, and that's fine. But when you're in that industry and you're playing your role the best that you can, like, Jay Park wins on that to me.
And that's why I'm not in that industry.
So fucking hard. Like, but it doesn't matter what industry you're in. Like, even in the industry you're in, if you're at the job that you're at and like somebody does something shitty, you can have the opinion that they do something shitty, but at the end of the day, you got to make a paycheck. Like you're not just gonna all of a sudden walk the fuck out, like, because then you're not gonna eat. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody has an opinion until they don't have an opinion. Like, and it's great for to have an opinion, but you're not Jay Park, and you're not, like, no one's in that industry. Like, you can only, like, Asian Junkie can say what they think the best thing is because their industry is to feed into the public. Like,
I think that he didn't have to go out of his way to defend 6ix9ine. I think he could have just let it be.
He's not going out of his way to defend 6ix9ine. He's going out of his way to explain to people in the best possible way. Like, it's worded very weirdly, but when you learn to read between the lines of that shit, like, he's just saying, like, I don't have a say in what that motherfucker did. Like, he did what he did. Whether I agree with it or disagree with it, he did what he did. Like, that's really all he's saying. Like, and like, he's not a judge, he's not a cop, he's not a fucking lawyer, he's not any of those things. He's an entertainer. These people are entertainers at the highest point of their level. It gave him an up. It doesn't then mean he's now doing a track with 6ix9ine. It doesn't then mean that he's going on tour with 6ix9ine. This is a thing that got dropped in his lap, and he's playing it the best that he can. Like everybody's presenting it like he told them to come on stage, like he told them to be there. Like, it's very clear that they took that moment, and then he's trying to use it as best he can. And anyone would do that. Like, so if people are going to get on their high horse, then get on your high horse about the shit that 6ix9ine did. Don't get on your high horse because these people decided to jump on Jay Park's fucking, like either learn to read between the lines or don't say anything. Like, is like what a lot of that always comes down to for me. Like, and very clearly on this situation, Asian Junkie did not read between the lines as a reporter. Like,
I think there's a lot of issues of how not calling people out on their bullshit can lead to co-signing onto it. And I think I can definitely understand that obviously it wasn't Jay Park's decision to have this asshole subhuman trash his stage. And yeah, he's in a tough spot. So I definitely understand that. There's a lot to not be happy with this whole situation. I definitely I understand that, like, he's not in a position where he feels comfortable calling anyone out.
Even in that perspective, right? Like, the dude's already been tried and judged for it. What more is Jay Park saying? Like, what more is Jay Park saying something about it gonna do for anyone? Like this is high horse bullshit, and I really never ever try to give in to high horse bullshit. Like, nobody's out in the street carrying pitchforks, so just either fucking, like don't use the internet as a pitchfork. Like don't don't like don't use the internet as a fucking pitchfork.
I won't. I will simply say that it bothers me that 6ix9ine is still breathing, but I will never go after him myself, and I understand that the circumstances.
Yeah, then to me, then you shouldn't have that opinion then, because in by law it's been dealt with. Like you can have an opinion. I'm not saying don't have an opinion, but like you're taking a very, very, very high horse thing on something that's been tried, juried, and convicted. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like this motherfucker hasn't been convicted for this thing. He's been convicted for this thing. It's been through trial. It's been through litigation. Like, like that's law and that's life. Like, you either keep moving forward or you get stuck in the mud by something.
I think the important thing is that next time Jay Park has a release party, his team needs to be on everybody's, be involved with everybody's invitation list at all times. They need better security. That way he's not caught in this situation.
Those people still get through security because, like I said, these people are at the height of still making shit look good when they show up. You know what I mean? Like you're taking a very solo opinion on it. Like, yeah, he did something fucking gross. Yeah, he's been convicted and judged for it. Like there's no other way around that. Like, now you get to the point where, for me, thinking from a marketing perspective, this is such a fucking win for Jay Park, because Jay Park is hitting all the fucking checkboxes he needs to hit. He's done all the big radio shows that he's need to be on. He's doing everything else great for him. Like, what that person did as a person is that thing. What that person's star power holds as an entertainer, to me, are two separate entities. So if I can fucking like hop, skip, jump off of that person, then I'm gonna fucking do that. Like,
if I could, I wouldn't. But I'm not Jay Park, and Jay Park, I don't blame Jay Park for doing it. But I wouldn't. But I'm not gonna make that statement. I wouldn't. But I'm not Jay Park, and it's up to Jay Park. That
because you're also not in that position. You know what I mean? Like you can't really say unless you were in that position. You can have the high horse. Like when people get into those positions, they think really differently.
Maybe they shouldn't.
They wouldn't if it didn't then help further their career, and then people forgot about it 8 years later when they're famous. You know what I mean? Like if people literally onto those things, then people wouldn't do that. But the fact that like 4 or 5 months from now, a year from now, when like Jay Park is playing on fucking Hot 97, you know what I mean? And people are like, oh shit, like fucking Jay Park's on Hot 97. Like, damn, how'd he get there? And you could literally trace it back to like these kind of moments, but nobody's going to, because everyone's going to forget about it. Nobody's still going to be fucking carrying their internet pitchforks about this shit then. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why I'm like, it's only talked about because it's this moment. Like don't, like, I don't know. To me, it's like, don't drag Jay Park down if your real thing is to vilify this other person. If your thing is to vilify this other person, then you better be all about vilifying this other person. Like, like there to me, if people are really about that, then they need to be on shit. And this is getting super fucking meta, right? They need to be fucking following fucking flags with the game Like, because that motherfucker is all about vilifying 6ix9ine. Like, that motherfucker has been vilifying that motherfucker since day one. And then when this shit came out, he's like, this is why this motherfucker shouldn't be in the industry. Because this motherfucker doesn't know how to carry himself. Because this motherfucker doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Like the game has been on that shit, like, since day one. Like, at first it kind of started out as a joke, but the game was like, no, I seriously don't want this motherfucker in this industry because I think he's a fucking idiot. And then as more and more shit has come out, the game has been like fucking pounding on tables. You know what I mean? Like, him against 6ix9ine, I fucking believe. Anyone else, I just think they're bandwagon riders on a moment. Whether that moment is a true vilification of a moment, which I think that thing is, I only think people are there for that moment. Like, but there are people that I follow and that I agree with. Like, I agree with the game. Like he has made some fucking points that I'm on that table with him. Like, I agree with you wholeheartedly, but I'm not in a position to say that. I'm not in a position to do that. Neither is Jay Park. But the game is, and the game has been doing that, but nobody's paying attention to him because he's not hot right now. You know what I mean? Asian Junkie isn't writing articles about why the game is right about 6ix9ine because it doesn't fall into their bottom line. Like, you know what I mean? So it's hard for me to ever really, and this is only towards Asian Junkie and not towards you because we sit in the same space. It is hard for me to really think that they give a fuck when it is only a sensationalist thing that it comes across to as me.
Yeah. Either way, let's transition out of this before I get ever more hateful of the music industry. That brings us to an end of another fantastic episode of Hallyujuku. Yeah, Kaz, what do you got going on in the world? What's going on?
Sports odds and ends. The show for the fly-by-night sports fan, as I leak out of my nose. Myself, JVZ, produced by the one, the great DJ M. We talk about all things sports, from the ball sports to the esports. We have been talking a lot about the upswing of the Las Vegas hockey team and kind of their come from nothing story, which JVZ has very clearly stated he is already over, but we have to keep talking about it because it is in the news. And we also have been talking about probably what I like to call the boring end of the basketball season because it's the same teams over and over again.
Yeah, it's a dynasty. It's a dynasty of greatness, like the Bulls back in the day. It was like,
see, that part is all fine. Right now, my anger lies in Boston and how they dropped that last game, and I will talk about that more on Sports Odds and Ends on our next episode.
I don't know. Yeah, the real boring part was the fact that the Cavs have no chance. Really, it's like, no, you barely beat the Celtics.
Yeah, you beat a crippled. Oh, no, I gotta. Ooh.
All right. Let's leave. Let's not leave content on the table. Let's keep it in the bag. Go check out sportoddsandends.com. But yeah, he's also, you can follow everything he's doing at King Kaz. I'm at PD Rave. The show is at Hallyujuku. That's Hallyujuku.com is the website, or kpoppodcast.com if you want something easy to say to other people. Rebelli.net for listening to the shows. Rebelli TV on YouTube, on Twitch maybe, I don't know, in the future, but at least on YouTube. Check us out everywhere you can find podcasts. Subscribe, like, share, do all the things.
Well, didn't I tell you? Don't you know?
Yeah, leave comments, leave feedback. We love that. Yeah, do all the things. Until next time, hasta los huevos. Annyeong. Fighting.
gotta be straight.